prices. Raise your prices. Tell you guys, raise your prices. See, in our country, we're not allowed to dig. Because if you dig, you may hurt the grass. There's a certain type of... We can't dig. I mean, we can't use anything... If an excavator is a certain size, they won't allow it because it may roll over a certain type of grass. Even though it might kill 10,000 jobs. You know, the whole thing is ridiculous. So I like what Australia's doing. I don't like that you buy back a product that's been recycled. They pay a lot of money, but that'll be next. But what you do is really screw them on the sale of the raw materials. Trust me, you'll be richer than China because they need you badly. You have all the cards. You know, the funny thing is the United States has all the cards with China. They said to me, well, Mr. Trump, China has $1 trillion worth of our debt. I say, so what? I have banks that had, you know, like hundreds of millions of my debt. Didn't mean a thing to me. I didn't lose an hour's sleep. It was their problem, not my problem. But they said, but they have all this debt. I said, first of all, $1 trillion is so little in the overall scope of things. And if you wanted to tax Chinese products coming in, because as you know, they manipulate their currency, and you know, it's a bad thing. They do a lot of bad crap, and they get away with it. And then you have our diplomats say, wouldn't it be nice if they could help us with jobs? Oh my God. Oh. It's so naive, I just get sick. Do you mind if I throw up right here? Would anybody get disgusted if I threw up all over the frickin' lectern? You gotta get this guy stuff. It's just so classic. You gotta get it. Because I think China would be very happy if we would create a lot of jobs so that we could sell things to China. And you know, even Japan, look, we love Japan. They went through a tsunami, they've got some problems. You know, they have a couple of little nuclear problems where their machines are exploding all over. And now we're all feeling so sorry for Japan. But they've been screwing us for 25 years. And as I said, when was the last time you saw somebody buy a Chevrolet in Japan? It doesn't happen. I mean, I'd like to know how many Chevrolets were sold in Japan. They sell them here. But, you know, but they're our ally. You know, China this year is going to make $300 billion on us. $300 billion. And that's a low number. That was recently, and they just announced that the number is actually going to be much higher than that. But, you know, you take other countries like Colombia. Colombia's made $4 billion last year. $4 billion on us. That's a small country. And I actually spoke with a group representing Obama. I say, let me ask you a question. Do we make any good deals? Is there one country, one, I just want to see one, where we made a good deal? I mean, we gave the Panama Canal away for $1. Jimmy Carter, he was another beauty. He was a great. We're giving it away for $1. $1. You know what they did? They doubled the price. The Panama Canal is making so much money that they're now building a new and bigger Panama Canal. Jimmy Carter gave it away for $1. You think he was a great negotiator? This is what we have. We have very stupid people running the United States. Okay. I know, Ron. Everyone says, Ron, we should run. And you know what? I did run. I was #1 in every poll. But, you know, we have a rule that you can't be on television and run for office. So I'm saying to myself, I have this show called Celebrity Apprentice, which is a big hit. Big hit. And by the way, Mark, you know, the group that does it here, they do a great job too. I mean, they do a good job, and really a good job. But we have you know, it's a tremendous success. And you have equal time, so you can't do that. You can't run for office and have the show. But I am watching. And if the economy continues to be bad, which I think it will because we have incompetent people leading our country. See, other people say, we have people that don't quite get it. I say they're totally frickin' incompetent, okay? Because it's true. We have incompetent people. So if the economy is bad, and if the Republicans pick the wrong candidate, I will very strongly consider running as an independent. And I think an independent could do actually very well. Look, in this country, and you people know about my country as much as I do, we really, thank you, darling. I like you too. You know, we really have a great potential country. But if it keeps going like with this Obamacare, which is a total disaster, and other things, honestly, it's going to take a long time to come back. It'll come back, but we've got to get it right. I've always said the next election is the most important election our country's ever had, except let's take a couple of the biggies out, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. Okay, let's take them out. Do we agree? You know, George Washington was a serious president, right? Can you imagine mentioning Obama in the same breath as George Washington? I don't think so. So George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, who today couldn't get elected. You know why? Because he's not a good-looking guy. Okay, pretty sad. Honest Abe is a very poor-looking man. Tall, gangly, major wart in his nose. He would not get elected. Instead, we get Jimmy Carter. I mean, you know. So the United States has some serious problems, but they can be worked out. And you know, speaking of entrepreneurship, and I started off by saying that you really, it's sort of the same, no matter, you need certain traits and certain abilities, but if you're an entrepreneur in a country that's not doing well, it's hard. You need good leadership, because it's much harder for you to be successful when a country is, you know, not doing well. If the United States is way off kilter, and I think it's going to come back, but the United States is way off kilter. If you're an entrepreneur, and I hear good things, I must tell you, and I know some people will hate what I say and some people will love it, but I hear good things about the way Australia is being run and running. And, you know, you just had your financial genius just got a nice award. He was voted the best in the world at this time. Now, I don't know who gives him that award. Maybe he does. I don't know. I do that. I give myself awards all the time. And then I announce I've just received an award. And there's nothing deceptive about it because I actually did, but I gave it to myself. So I don't know who gave me the award, but I just sort of know. So anyway, but I think you are doing okay. But it's so good to be an entrepreneur. One of the people I was with today, a great guy, said he hates all the rules, restrictions, and all of the things that are being placed in Australia. Now, he did say that. He's a great Australian, very important person. And he hated the rules and regulations that are going down in Australia. And I can understand that, and I see it happening. I mean, I see it happening also, but it's certainly happening in the United States. Okay, you want to be totally focused. You can't take your eye off the ball. When I had troubles in the early 90s, a major article came out, and it said very strongly, everything he touches turns to gold. And I believed it. So I'd go out with models at night, instead of working, I'd head to Europe. You know, I used to go to the shows in Paris, right? I wasn't looking at dresses. Not a nice thing to say, all the ladies now hate me. But the truth, but I've changed my ways. But I used to go, and I used to study the models. The dresses meant nothing to me. But that wasn't good. And I remember I had a big lease coming up, and there was a big show, and I went to the show. I said, don't worry, fellas, you can handle the lease, you'll get it done. Well, I came back, they didn't get it done. And I would have had it done 100%. And then the market crashed in the 90s. So I had trouble. But it was sort of an amazing, I wouldn't want to do it again. It was an amazing test of yourself. Can you handle pressure? How are you under pressure? Are you smart? You know, when everybody's coming at you. Now there's a word known as luck. And this is a sad word. This is a word that I hate to talk to people about. Because some people are lucky and some people aren't. And you can sit in this room and say, you know, he's right or he's wrong. But you have a word called luck. And I have a very smart friend who's an entrepreneur and a very good one. He says there's no such thing as luck. You make your own luck. I said, well, you got born to nice, wealthy parents and stuff. I mean, right there, you're lucky. But he's really totally, you know, like you make your own luck. And I sort of agree that you can make your own luck. But there are some people that are just lucky. I'll give you two examples. I have a friend, and I love him. Special guy. But part of the reason I love him because he's a loser. Because rich people don't like other rich people. Historically. At least in my case. When I'm sitting at a table with a group of people, I want to be bragging about how great I am and how smart I am. I don't want another guy on the other side of the table saying, and I just did this. I don't need it. Steve Wynn is a friend of mine, and we're always fighting together because he's trying to tell me how great he is, and I'm trying to say how great I am. So I like guys that are losers to be my friends. And this poor guy, he's very unlucky. Smart guy, beautiful wife, nice family, everything. But he's accident prone. Every time he does something, he gets into an accident. He calls me up, how you feeling? Oh, I have a bad shoulder. What happened? Are you a football player? How do you get a bad shoulder? He goes, oh, I heard it, I fell down the stairs. I said, unbelievable. Why are you always injured? He's always injured. So the guy goes into the hospital for a shoulder. True story. Now we have a thing called the Long Island Expressway. Did you ever hear of it? It's got to be one of the most active roads in the world. They call it the Long Island Distressway because every time you're on it, it's distress. It's just like millions of cars going in, it's in New York. So the guy is in the hospital for 2 weeks. I go to see him because it makes me feel good. He's groaning. Oh, how you feeling? Oh, shit. Oh. So I'm happy. I leave happy. That's a basket case. But he's my friend. So what happens, true story, he's coming home from the hospital. He's happy. He's leaving the hospital. He's in a van, in the back of a van. His wife is driving and a kid. And this, people don't even believe it. You know those huge signs that say like 30 miles to New York? They hang over the roads, right? These big steel signs. An 18-wheeler loses control and runs into one of the poles on the sign. This guy's going in his little van. And the sign falls down on the car and totally wipes him out. And now, this is a year ago, he's near death. And he is a serious, he's just not lucky. And yet, there's a second, I don't want to go on that too long, but there is a second part to it. Some people like being injured or sick because the wife comes, Donald, can you believe what happened to Harry? Yes, I can, absolutely. You ought to see the van. And then I told her, you're lucky because he wasn't killed. I looked at the van, it was like split in half. These things weigh like 4 tons. I don't know how he made it. But he was groaning and groggy, and he's all screwed up, and he's in that hospital, and you know what? I think that's where he wants to be. But some people are lucky. Gary Player, the great golfer, he was a little guy, very little, but he worked really hard. And he had a great statement, the luckier I get. You know the statement. And he used to work harder than anybody. He'd go, the harder I work, the luckier I get. And he wins the US Open. You have all these big, handsome guys, these big, giant guys, and they hit the ball a mile. And you have Gary Player. And Gary Player would win the Open. He'd win the Masters. He'd win this. He'd win that. And he said, hey, in the US Open, he hit a 5-iron to 1 foot from the hole, and he ended up getting a birdie and wins the US Open, right? And he came off the green. Now, I know I've heard the statement before, but I heard it from him in a meaningful way. They said, what do you think, Gary? What is it? He said, all I know is I've been working very hard. And the harder I work, the luckier I get. I thought it was an amazing statement. So you can do something about luck. I'll give you one other luck story, because luck is important. I was in deep, deep trouble in the early 90s. The markets totally collapsed. The banks were collapsing. The savings and loans were collapsing. I had a beautiful girlfriend named Marla. Did anyone ever hear of Marla? Okay. It cost me a freaking fortune, let me tell you. And I'm walking down Fifth Avenue, right in front of Tiffany, okay? Right in front of Trump Tower, Tiffany. And there's a man, a blind man. He's got pencils in a tin can and a dog, seeing I do. And I said to Marla, Marla, do you know who that is? She goes, yes, darling. Isn't it sad? He's a beggar. I go, well, right now, that beggar is worth $900 million more than I am. And she goes, somewhat naively, although in retrospect she wasn't very naive at all. She goes, what do you mean, darling? He's not worth $900 million, is he? I said, no. Let's assume he's worth nothing. But I'm worth minus $900 million from him. And you know what? She didn't run away. She didn't run. Most girls would have said, oh, I'm a little late. I got to get out of here. Had she done that, I would have saved a lot of money. But she didn't. But there's a great story about that. So, and this is a story of luck. I go to my office, and my secretary's been with me for a long time, said, Mr. Trump, you have a major black tie dinner tonight. I said, where? The Waldorf Astoria. I said, who's there? The bankers. I said, bankers? Oh, shit. I owe them $9.2 billion. Okay? Have no intention of paying it. And I have to go to a banker's firm. It's true. So I say, I don't want to go. I'm not going. She said, no, you got to go. And, you know, on top of it is black tie. So now on top of everything else, I have to put on a tuxedo to get abused. So I go. I say, you know, I go home, not even thinking. And then I call myself. I say, give me the details. I'm going to go. Okay, now we're talking about luck. So I go. And I'm sitting at a table, loaded up with bankers. And the guy on my left was a nice guy. Obviously, he didn't loan me any money. He was a nice guy. And he's talking to me a little bit. The guy on my right, I didn't know who he was. And I say, hello, how are you? He goes, And he turns his head. I go, whoa. The guy on my left says, he doesn't like you very much. I said, I've got, you know, I sort of understand it. So I started talking to the guy on the left for a while, and then I hit the guy on the right, and you could see the hatred was immense. Well, this was a guy that bankrupted 32 different people. He was with a certain bank, I won't name the bank. I owed him $179 million. And he was nasty, and he wasn't even taking my phone calls. He wasn't taking anybody's phone calls from. He was a bad guy. He was bankrupting everybody instead of working it out. So now I'm sitting next to him. I figured out it was him, because I said, what's your name? He looks at me, didn't want to even give it. Okay. He was insulted that I didn't know, but I never met him. I owe him, think of it, I owe him $179 million. I never even met the banker. So the evening goes by, and I started working on him hard. You know, it's called work. It's not pleasure. I'd rather be home watching television. I like to say read a book makes me more intellectual. Actually, it's So I can think of about 1,000 places I would have rather been, but it's work. But I'm at this dinner, and I'm sitting next to a guy. Now, call that luck. It wasn't working, but call it luck. Now, I start working on him, and we were talking about different things. And all of a sudden, I could see that he was starting to like me. I happen to be a nice guy. People like me. You know, with The Apprentice, they say it can never work because women will never like Donald Trump. And I say, excuse me, who's done better with women than Trump? And by the way, my highest audience is women. Women. They love Trump. It's a crazy thing. See? Women are smart, aren't they? Okay. So what happens, I'm with the banker, and at the end of the evening, he says, you know, I got to tell you, you're really a great guy. I like you. Can you be in my office? You know, when you owe lots of money, you go to their office. Can you be in my office on, this was a Friday, on Monday morning at 9 o'clock? We'll see if we can work something out. Now, he bankrupted, I think it was 32 different people. And he was vicious. No deals, no negotiation, no nothing. I said, I'll be there. I went to his office, and in 5 minutes, we worked out a deal for a lot of money. And if I didn't work it out with him, I had 100 banks, and he was the only one I couldn't work it out. Then the other banks could never have done, because, you know, a lot of the people know, if you don't do it perfectly, they can't, you know, it's just the way it is. So I worked out a deal. Now, I said, thank you very much. You really are a gentleman, even though he's a rough guy, but I won't go. But to me, he was a gentleman. But think about the word luck. and think about working hard. I didn't want to go there. I said, I'm not going. I refused to go. My secretary gave me one more chance. I went. I happened to sit next to the guy, but I would have never sat next to him. And had I not gone, and had I not sat next to him and done well with him, I probably wouldn't be here, because the empowerment group would say, who the hell wants a loser? Who the hell? Well, maybe they'd have me as how to blow a fortune. Okay? So, the word luck, and I consider that to be an important thing, because the word luck, you can make yourself lucky. Now, just a few other things. Passion, you need passion. You just have to do it. You need passion. Go against the tide. If you have talent, go against the tide. Some of the best deals I ever made were I just bought Bank of America stock. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Bank of America. In fact, I'm suing them. You know, I bought a winery down in Virginia at a bankruptcy auction, and they have a house that should have been included, and I'm suing them. And yet I go out and buy their stock. Now, you tell me, am I crazy or who knows? But I went out and bought some Bank of America stock. I'm not a big stock guy, but it's been so badly beaten, and it's sort of going against the tide. Go with your gut, go against the tide. I sort of like that. I mean, to me, I like it. Now, the lucky thing, I'm going to go back to it, because some people are lucky, some people are. You know if you're lucky. And if you're not lucky, enjoy your job. Go get a job and enjoy it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because I hate to see people leave an auditorium and get all psyched because they heard a good speech by somebody, and they go out and they give up their job and they want to be an entrepreneur and they don't have whatever it takes. Or, you know, it's hard to be an entrepreneur. You have to really have something very special. And sometimes what I'm happiest about is I convince people not to be an entrepreneur. It's not what this is all about. But there are a lot of people that are not equipped to do it. And a lot of that word, pressure, is involved in this. You have guys that are just as smart, they're smarter, but they can't handle the pressure. You see it with golfers. I have friends that can't sink a 3-foot putt. You put money on the line, and you say, put that ball in the hole. They can't even take the club. They're like this. I say, you're a basket case. Of course, it doesn't help when I'm calling them a basket case prize. Now, there's a couple of other things. And you know, these aren't things that you learn in business school. But, you know, I believe in it. Get even with people. If they screw you, screw them back 10 times as hard. I really believe it. I mean, I'll give you an example. Jennifer Hawkins. Where's Jennifer? Where's she sitting? Come over here, Jennifer. First of all, how beautiful is Jennifer? No, but this is about getting even. I was so angry at her yesterday. Seriously, because as I said, I thought that she dissed me. I thought that my Jennifer, I'm going around saying, she's my favorite Miss Universe. Although I think I like the new one better, Jennifer. So I go around saying she's the greatest. She writes books. They call me. I say, oh, I don't want to answer another Jennifer Hawkins question. She's fantastic. And then when I came here, there was no Jennifer Hawkins to introduce me.
No, in my defense. No, there was miscommunication.
Okay,
of course I wanted to come here.
So I was actually going to get up and tell you that Jennifer is a beautiful girl on the outside, but she's not very bright. But that wouldn't have been true, but I would have said it anyway. Because when I said, you know what, it would be great. I haven't seen Jennifer in a couple of years. She's so great, and she did so well, and she's a big star here. And I helped her make it. I own the Miss Universe pageant. And I heard that she wouldn't introduce me.
But I did.
I know, but you did. So what happens? So what happens is, and you know what? She came tonight. She came. She came. See, so they have the same filthy minds in Australia. She goes as me. I was gonna refer to the other. No, but here's the beauty. When she found out about it, she got in that car and she got her ass over here, and I love her.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
I found out this morning, okay? It was miscommunication with my management, so I'm sorry. I felt really
You know,
bad.
I don't know too many women that are taller than. Yes, go.
Thank you very much.
She's great.